Good morning. My name is Todd Raspberry, and I serve as the Vice President for Philanthropy and External Relations at West Texas A&M University and Executive Director of the West Texas A&M University Foundation. It's my privilege to welcome you this morning to the Legacy Hall in the Jack B. Kelly Student Center on the campus of West Texas A&M University for an exciting and historic announcement as part of the One West fundraising campaign. I want to begin by introducing our distinguished guests joining us for today's announcement. Terry and Dyke Rogers and their family and friends, and if you're family and friends, would you stand and let us welcome you? Actually, everybody in here is a friend of Terry and Dyke, so we were all standing. You will hear more about Terry and Dyke and why today's announcement is important to them and to the university. I'd like to introduce the members of our One West Campaign Leadership Committee, Jim J. Brewer and Leah McLean, Cheryl and Alex Fairley, Terry and Dyke Rogers, and Sherry and David Schaefer. Let's thank them for their leadership in the campaign. We also have with us today members of the WT administration, faculty, staff, and students, as well as members of the WT Foundation Board of Directors, and we want to thank you for joining us for today's announcement. Now I'll introduce those who will address you in the order that they'll be speaking. Jim J. Brewer and Leah McLean, members of the Campaign Leadership Committee. Dr. Walter V. Wendler, 11th President of West Texas A&M University. Terry and Dyke Rogers. Dr. Neil Terry, Executive Vice President and Provost. And Ariana Stadler, a junior education major and Rogers Lead WT student from Hooker, Oklahoma. Let's thank them for their participation. Great universities share at least three things in common. Outstanding faculty who create an exceptional educational experience for students and conduct important research in their respective fields. A compelling vision of identity as an institution of higher education that can lead into the future. And generous philanthropic support from donors. WT has a long reputation of outstanding faculty, and the university is committed to continually strengthening the faculty's ability to create exceptional educational experiences for our students and to conduct important research related to our region. The vision of the long-range plan, WT 125 from the Panhandle to the World, casts a compelling vision for what it means to thrive as a regional research university that takes seriously its responsibility to place and citizens as well as making contributions across the globe. And WT donors generously invest as partners in the educational mission. Our donors represent everything that is good about the public and private partnership of this great university. The educational experience at WT includes opportunities that extend beyond the classroom to further develop students as productive citizens and leaders, like the Terry and Dyke Rogers Leadership, Education, and Development Program known as Rogers Lead WT. Not only have Terry and Dyke Rogers established the program through their philanthropic support, but they're personally engaged in the program as mentors to students. Today's gift announcement will extend Terry and Dyke's support and engagement at WT. It is my privilege and honor to announce as part of the One West campaign a gift of $5 million from Terry and Dyke Rogers to name the Terry B. Rogers College of Educational and Social Sciences at West Texas A&M University. We have something special we want you to see.
You got this great love for education you're a lifelong learner, you're a teacher, you're a principal, and I just want to do something that would be kind of honorable to you, okay? So that's what this is. This is because I love you, okay?
He's amazing.
And everybody here is trying to figure out what it is because they don't know. It's a WT deal.
And he wrapped it.
I did.
WT, West Texas A&M University, Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences. What is this?
I don't know. What does it look like?
Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences. Wow! That's really Do y'all know what this is?
Kind of, but I'm still kind of trying to figure it out.
They're going to name the college after her.
Oh my gosh!
It will be the, what does it say?
Terry B.
Terry B. Rogers Education, what?
We caught the JVK, we're hanging out here.
College of Education and Social Sciences.
I'll
Oh
have you
my
sign
gosh, that is just the most amazing gift I've ever seen.
It is.
Wow.
I wish I was married to Dyke. He said he's glad I'm not, actually. More will be said from the speakers about the gift, its impact, and the vision it helps fulfill. Today's announcement supports the foundation of West Texas A&M University. In 1910, WT began as a normal school. And for the first 3 decades of existence, WT focused exclusively on the preparation of teachers to teach. The preparation of teachers for classrooms across the Panhandle region and beyond remains an essential part of WT's mission. Today's gift announcement is made more meaningful because the college will bear the name of a lifelong public school teacher, administrator, and advocate, Terry B. Rogers. As a matter of fact, she left an interim principal job in Dalhart to be here today, so she wants to get back as quick as she can. God bless her. She never stops. I would like to now invite forward Jim J. Brewer and Leah McLean.
Thank you, Todd. West Texas A&M University is proud to be the Panhandle's university. WT's top priority is to serve locally as a regional research university, addressing the opportunities and issues of the people of our region. This mission is enhanced through the long-range plan of the One West campaign, WT 125, from the Panhandle to the world. The One West campaign represents the largest and most ambitious fundraising effort ever undertaken across the Texas Panhandle region. Today's announcement of this $5 million gift is part of this campaign that set a public goal to raise $125 million to fuel the vision cast in the WT 125 long-range plan. The One West campaign is comprehensive, which means a philanthropic gift to anything at WT is part of the campaign, and donors are encouraged to give to areas they care about most. The One West campaign has 3 funding priorities. Our first priority is people, with an emphasis on student scholarships and faculty endowments. The second is programs, providing sustainable funding for existing and new programs specifically designed to enhance its academic mission. And the third priority is places. As you can see, looking around this campus, the educational experience at WT continues to be enhanced by improvements to existing facilities and the creation of new ones.
Today's gift announcement brings us even closer to the $125 million goal we publicly announced on September 23rd. On behalf of the Campaign Leadership Committee, we want to thank Terry and Dyke for the gift to name the Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences, but also for their volunteer leadership in this campaign. Thank you, guys. The growth and continued success of WT is due in part to the investment of individual donors, foundations, businesses, and the community who support the mission of WT in many different ways. Dyke and Terry, your generous contribution is significant and greatly appreciated, and we thank you for it. We're grateful for your investment in the future of the university through your time, talent, and resources. WT is fortunate to be the recipient of your vision and loyalty, and all of us here today are fortunate to know you. Again, on behalf of the Campaign Leadership Committee, the Campaign Steering Committee, the WT Foundation Board, and all of us, thank you for your investment in WT. I'd like to ask Dr. Wendler to come to the podium.
Thanks so much to all of you. We've had 3 very big weeks here. And in every case, I have to start my reflection on these weeks because the total of funds that we've charted in these last 3 weeks is almost $13 million. And that's a big 3 weeks. That's a big 3 weeks anywhere, but it's an especially big 3 weeks for us. But I will tell you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, while the money is important, it's secondary to the moral and emotional support that people like Dyke and Terry Rogers give to West Texas A&M University, and through that, to the Texas Panhandle. It's remarkable. And for us to be beneficiaries of that in a way that grows the whole region and moves it forward is especially and profoundly important to me and to the faculty and staff and students of West Texas A&M University. As Todd said, the Rogers are engaging their passion for education by naming the foundational college at WT. We started as a teacher's college, a 2-year college, a normal school, like so many regional universities in our nation. That's where we started. And in many ways, the College of Education, now the Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences, is actually the flagship of the West Texas A&M University. It is so important to who we are, where we were, and where we're going. It can never be overstated, the critical nature of the relationship of the College of Education and its purpose in the greater picture of West Texas A&M University. I'm a bit of a competitor, and I look around and see what are we doing and how does it relate to other institutions in the state of Texas. And I'm here to tell you today that there were only, of all of the 37 public universities in Texas, there are only 3, today marks the 3rd, that have a named College of Education. Only 3 of 37, which is remarkable. And by the way, that includes the flagships and the land grants and the big universities that are household names. We're actually leading in this area, and I'm thankful for that. And by the way, while we're one of 3 that have a named College of Education, we have the largest single cash gift that's been contributed to a College of Education for its naming in the state of Texas, according to our research. And I am so thankful to yet again thank Dyke and Terry for their largesse and its impact on West Texas A&M University. And I like to think about the regional impact that we have, that WT has on the Panhandle. It's important. I'll never let it go, ever. Now, through our region, we will serve the state and indeed the United States and even the world if we pay attention to regional issues, because the issues that exist in this region exist all over the nation. As a matter of fact, it's not lost on me that many of the West Texas values that are near to our hearts are attractive to people from across the country. And they clamor for the kinds of values that we have in West Texas. And if we ever give that up, woe unto us if we ever let that pass. That is who we are, and we're never ashamed and always proud and unapologetic for our commitment to the values of West Texas that are exhibited by the people that live in the Texas Panhandle. Critically important to who we are, and it distinguishes us. Some universities are running from those values. We're running straight at them because they mark us distinctively, and I'm thankful for that. And Dyke and Terry, their commitment to lead WT is remarkable. They participate in that program like students. They're there with the students. You'll hear about how that works, and it is a remarkable program. And one of the goals is to retain high-quality students, graduates of WT, in the area to lead to future economic development right here in the Texas Panhandle. And that is important in my mind. We have a history of educating educators in the Panhandle. I visited every high school in the Panhandle twice. And I can tell you, and I know this not because I visited the schools, but because we've studied this, 75% of the teachers and administrators that educate primary and secondary students in the Texas Panhandle, 75% have at least one degree or certificate from West Texas A&M University. And that's a tremendously powerful thing. And what we have to recognize this, and I know that Eddie and his colleagues in the College of Education and Social Sciences do recognize it, but here's what's important. When the Panhandle does well and we are fruitful in the educational processes that we offer in the Panhandle across the top 26 counties of Texas, we can allow our chests to swell a little bit with pride, appropriate pride in what we've accomplished. And likewise, there's two sides to that coin. We have to recognize that if those programs in primary and secondary schools are not doing everything they should, we bear part of that responsibility. And I think that responsibility and impact is recognized in the College of Education and Social Sciences. And I think it's part of what engaged Dyke and Terry in this process. So we are exceedingly proud of all of that. And we believe that we will continue to serve the Panhandle well. We all agree, WT is a great university. Dyke and Terry, today you have helped make us even better through your philanthropic support. And now it is with great pleasure, earnest pleasure, sincere pleasure, to invite to the podium Dyke Rogers. Please welcome Dyke.
Well, I'm glad Terry has a lot of friends. So now I'd like to welcome our family. We've got all of our kids here and their spouses and most of our grandkids here, and I'm very proud of all of them, and thank you for coming today. I've got some of my business partners here, and thank you very much for you coming. We've got some lead WT students here, and always very proud of them, and then just friends of WT, and we're grateful for them also. Before I began, as the co-chair of the WT campaign, I'd like to recognize some families that have really given to the College of Education in the past, because while we're naming this, it's had great support over time. The Peel family, the Schaefer family, the Bain family, the Williams family, the Bivens family, all of you, and the Hatton family. All of you have been great supporters of the College of Education, and I want to thank you for that. Now, just as a little history, our WT roots run pretty deep. I graduated here. Terry got her master's degree here in administration. We've had 2 daughters that have graduated here, a son-in-law. I'm not real certain how he graduated here, but he did. We've got 2 grandkids that are coming here now. So we're very proud of West Texas A&M, and we've spent quite a bit of time here. In our family, we've attempted to foster a spirit of philanthropy. All our kids and our grandkids are all involved in what we do, and we've done that for a number of years. And I think it's kind of working, because none of them had a great objection to us investing part of their inheritance today in West Texas A&M. So thank you, family. My story is that I arrived here either by divine intervention or by accident. I'm not sure which. But I left home and I was headed to the beach. And nobody in my family had ever graduated from college, and it never occurred to me to go. And so I had an old car and I had $100, and I thought I had life in hand until my darn car broke down in Amarillo. And so I went to work for a cousin, and we roofed houses for a while, and it was the middle of the summer, and I knew that wasn't where I wanted to spend my life. So he said, "You should go to school." And I said, I don't have any money. I can't go to school. And he said, "I'll bet we can figure that out." So he brought me down here, introduced me to Buff Morris and Clifford. All of a sudden, I'm drawing a blank. And they were with the Opportunity Plan. And so I came here on a grant. And I'm not supposed to get emotional. That's part of the program. But anyway, I came here on a grant, and it really worked out really well for me. And I spent my 4 years here. And I have to admit, my major was more campusology than it was anything specific. I did get a business administration degree, but the things I learned here were much more important than the degree. If you come here and you have no money, you learn things. You know, like for instance, I learned that if you go into the dining hall in the evening on a Friday or a Saturday night, there are a lot of available girls. One, they will not turn you down for a date. And 2, you don't have to buy dinner. So you learn things like that, you figure things out. And I had 4 years of figuring things out. It was a great experience and a great time. We got back involved in WT maybe 15 years ago, a little longer, got invited to be on the foundation board, and it was a great experience to come back and find out really what all was going on here at WT. And this is not the same university it was 15 years ago. It's an amazing place. It was an amazing place then, but it was a little drab. It's a beautiful facility today, and it's got great faculty, and it's a wonderful place. And we got involved. We got an opportunity to invest in something called Lead WT. It was a leadership program, and it was being put together, and my thought was I really wanted to be involved in that. And I wanted to be involved because I do not believe that small towns die for lack of capital. They die for lack of leadership. And we needed to reinvigorate the idea that small towns might have leadership. So that's the basis of why we wanted to be involved in Lead WT. But the thing about it that really appealed to me is that they took the check and they didn't mind doing that. It was okay. But then they said, "Well, what do you want to do with this?" I said, "Wait a minute, you're asking me?" I said, "Well, I mean, you know, you're going to support this. We expect you to be involved." And I thought, what a great idea, you know? And so we got involved, and they have worked with us all the way through for a number of years. They have asked our opinion, imagine that, and then they've taken some of the things that we've thought was a good idea. But the LEAD program works because it's had great leadership. It's had, today has Rick and Missy, who are wonderful, wonderful leaders, maybe some of the best I've ever seen. And it's had a really good core of leadership before that, with Dr. Lance Keith and with Amber Black, with Kimberly Cornelius, with Aaron Hunt. It's been a really neat experience to watch all of these young students, they're still kids to me, but young students come through and watch when they look like deer in the headlights as a freshman, and they look like accomplished, real young people that are ready to attack the world by the time they graduate. So it's just been a great experience in that. And so part of today's announced investment is that we will be providing some scholarship help to all 50 lead scholars every year, annually from here forward. And I had somebody ask me the other day, they said, well, why the College of Education? And this is somebody who is involved in fundraising here, and said, why the College of Education? I mean, your background is business, your background is agriculture, so why would you do the College of Education? And so I just wanted to tell you, first off, I think the College of Agriculture is an amazing place. The College of Business is an amazing place. And they are both very worthy of investing in. And, but people who are in agriculture and people who are in business, they normally have more means to invest than somebody who goes into teaching or something in the social sciences. So it's a lot easier to give back in larger numbers if you're in those areas than it is if you're a teacher or a policeman or a psychologist or someone involved in the social studies, or sociology. So I just figured, where is the greatest need? So that was the first program. So while it's the smaller gifts that come in, and even some good size gifts that come in to the College of Education, the larger gift just normally doesn't come. So we wanted to do that. Secondly, it really wasn't about me. Terry and I both recognize that teacher is often the most influential person in a young life. And we further recognize that we're faced or will be faced with a critical shortage of teachers and administrators. And there are many reasons for this shortage, but not the least of which has been the negative focus over the last couple of years on both teachers and police officers. It's very, very unfair, but it's very, very real, and it's going to discourage people from being in those fields. So it's important that this get re-energized. Also, we believe it's more important than ever to support our educational systems. Is there a better place to start than where it all starts, at the College of Education and Social Sciences? Today's announced funds will support 20 annual scholarships for education majors, as well as 7 named professorships available to all the Department of the College of Education. And it'll provide dollars to develop and support collaborative programs for rural schools. And then there's an additional $500,000 that will be used as matching endowments to encourage others to step up and to add some dollars to that and then embark on their educational dreams. Now, back to why the College of Education and Social Sciences, kind of the rest of the story. I wanted to do something significant for WT. It's done something significant for me. And I love my wife. Terry is amazing. She's spent her adult life as an educator, either as a teacher or administrator. She's been in 10 different schools, not counting the Dalhart Elementary, where she's currently filling a role created by the departure of mid-year of an elementary principal. And after discussing with Dr. Raspberry and Dr. Wendler the naming opportunity, it just seemed right. The problem was telling her. If I'd asked, she would have said, oh, bull, absolutely not. And she can say that pretty well. So it actually took me weeks to figure out how to present the case. And she's never seen this video that we took today. I don't know that she knew that we took it when we gave it to her, but that's really who she is. So when thinking about associating Terry's name with the College of Education, I thought, really, who better than a true educator, someone who loves education for education's sake, a lifelong learner, a person whose greatest joy is encouraging a kid with a hug, and someone who actually has been in the trenches. I thought a proper tribute to Terry would be to associate her name with an exemplary institution that has and will continue to affect the lives of so many young people for years to come. And by offering this opportunity to us, WT is allowing me to honor her as well as her legacy while benefiting future teachers and their students. Thank you.
I'm reading the room, and I'm a kindergarten, first grade teacher, so let's all stretch up high. I'm serious. Wiggle a little bit. Okay, that's not how I was supposed to start, but good morning. Thank you so very much for each of you for being here today. I am deeply touched. Wow, I see friends, family, colleagues, and the WT's faculty and staff who I have grown to love and appreciate, and of course my beautiful family and lead scholars. While today my name is being associated with the College of Education and Social Sciences at West Texas A&M University, I hope today will be a celebration of all teachers. Let's stop and remember that one special teacher, or maybe many teachers, who made the biggest impact on your life. For me, it was all the teachers in my hometown of Cross Plains, Texas. I can name you every one of those teachers and tell you what they gave to me. My heroes are educators. Teachers give us the foundation for learning and growing. I am so pleased that this is the area to which we are investing. For me, today is also a celebration of a beautiful love story that started on WT campus. There were two education majors, Leslie and Leslie. Leslie Frith, the daughter of Brenda Frith, who was one of my closest friends, and Leslie Rogers, who was Dyke's daughter, thought it was time for Dad to have his first blind date. This time, Dyke, having moved up from finding a date in the dining hall, was required to buy the dinner. Based on today's events, it may turn out to be the most expensive dinner he has ever bought. From that special night on, we talked every day, and he talked about the deals and the opportunities, and I talked about the most wonderful school that I was working at and how dedicated the teachers and staff. They work so very hard. So every day for 28 years, I have enjoyed being a part of his life. Dyke, thank you for knowing me well, for loving me, and for this honor. After a few short years as the principal at Coronado Elementary, love brought me to Dalhart and to early retirement. Unfortunately, my precious husband heard about my longing to be involved in the school system for many years. In my retirement years, I've enjoyed volunteering, teaching discipleship groups, and enjoying our 6 kids and grandkids, 15 grandkids. We have been blessed beyond measured. It is an honor to give back to the university we love so much. Luckily, Dyke became very active at WT, and we found a place to get involved. Eventually, we were asked if we would establish a leadership program. We jumped at the opportunity. The lead scholars are our adopted kids. Many lead scholars are first-generation students, just like Dyke and I were. They work to pay for their education. They are active on and off of campus. They are servant leaders, learning to give back and learning how to serve others. They make a huge time commitment to this program by coming to class on Fridays, being ambassadors for the university, volunteering for community organizations, doing internships, and presenting at an annual leadership summit. Whenever I get down about the world situation, I think of the lead scholars, and I know that our future is in good hands. Missy and Rick, you are great leaders and teachers. We celebrate you today for giving the hours and hours of support to your students. I know what the lead scholars are learning will benefit them in all areas of their lives. I am thrilled that we are providing more scholarship dollars for lead scholars. As I mentioned earlier, I grew up, y'all, my foot just went through the crack. Sorry. Whoops. Let me start again. As I told you earlier, I grew up in Cross Lanes, Texas, and I had wonderful teachers and parents. Even though my parents only had a high school education, they had bigger plans for my brother and I. And my brother is right there. After graduating from TCU, I began teaching kindergarten in a very deprived area in Houston. Over the years, I taught kindergarten and first grade in Houston, in Fort Bend Elementary, and in Amarillo, as well as at Amarillo College. Being in the classroom, whether in the elementary school or at the university level, is my happy place. When my two kids, Chris and Elizabeth, were very young, I became a single mom. It was very difficult to support a family on a teacher's salary. A co-teacher suggested that I come to WT to get my master's degree in administration. WT was a lifeline for my family. I began the long journey of teaching during the day, attending night classes and summer school. I will always be grateful that WT, a great university, was so close to home. I attended classes in the old education building across the street, and we are thrilled that stately building is going to be renovated. Thank you, Schaefer family. Dr. Robert Spahn was my professor, and I enjoyed sitting under his leadership. Dr. Spahn prepared me well for the many challenges and conflicts administrators face. Because today there are so many non-traditional students, just like I was, who need to better their lives by coming back to school, I am thrilled that there will be scholarships now available for some of those students. Thank you, Jesus. My master's degree paved the way to my dream job of being a principal at Coronado Elementary. I am thankful for the excellent training AISD provided in the 90s for principals and teachers. We were encouraged and supported in building healthy teams that were innovative and used the latest research to update our skills. We had high expectations for all kids. One thing that made us such a great school was parent support. We had many parents who could have sent their kids to elite private schools, but they believed in the importance of public schools. If we needed supplies, clothes, or the last-minute refreshments for that classroom that didn't have refreshments for the party, they were there. One group of parents even prayed on a weekly basis for our school, and that is something that all schools need. Our team worked hard, and in a short time, we were recognized by the state of Texas as a blue ribbon school. We were pleased to share our journeys to success with other school districts at conferences. And I did not know this, but so many of that team is here today, and you just have to wave. My wonderful secretary over here. There's 2 teachers over here. Thank you, thank you. I pushed them so hard, and I want to say maybe sorry, but not really sorry, because we were a great team. My dream is that all rural schools will share this same experience. Remember, great teachers make great schools. WT should be a key component in making this a reality. As we have already heard, WT trains most of the teachers in the Panhandle regions. I am very excited that funds will be available to recognize, recruit, and retain excellent faculty, and that part of today's announced gift will be used to create and implement collaborative programs for rural schools. Yes. In closing, I truly believe that our schools can be the positive connector for all our challenging and diverse society. Having spent the last 3 weeks filling in an administrative role in the Dalhart Elementary School, I recognize the challenges facing our schools are great. Our student populations are very diverse, resulting in many language and cultural barriers. There is a shortage of qualified teachers and administrators, and I believe that this will only get worse. And yet, every single day, dedicated school personnel show up, working their hearts out, giving their all, so that every child has the opportunity to learn and to become who they are called to be. Excellence in education for all students, whether it be special needs, the gifted and talented, and I do mean all students, is foundational for the future of our country. To meet this worthy goal, everyone must get involved. I challenge you to know what is happening in your local schools. Volunteer, run for the school board. Encourage our young people to become teachers. Again, please take a moment sometime today to remember the special teachers that meant so much to you for your success. Honor them by supporting teachers and schools at every level. Today's announcement is only the beginning. As is frequently heard in my family gatherings, let's build on this momentum.
Well, good morning, and on behalf of Academic Affairs, let me start by thanking Dyke, Terry, and the extended Rogers family for making this naming possible. Thank you very much. Second, I want to thank President Windler for his dedication to the university's academic mission. It is much appreciated. I also want to thank the past and present faculty, staff, students, and administration from the College of Education and Social Sciences. No one puts their name on a college unless there's a solid foundation from the past combined with a vision for the future. For Dean Henderson, and all involved with the college, you shared this special day with Terry. Congratulations. This is the fourth naming at WT, and I can say from experience that a naming is much bigger than just the financial support. A named college is a sub-brand that unifies generations of scholars with pride. It takes some time for a named college to become a brand, but the college stakeholders will work closely with Terry in the coming years to advance the college in meaningful ways. The association with an alumna further reinforces the positive externalities of this specific naming. When it comes to use of funds, President Wendler, Dr. Raspberry, and I visited with Terry to gain her insight back in October. Dyke put in the caveat to get information from Terry, but we could not let her know his intent to surprise her with a gift at Christmas. So we had to cloak the discussion under the guise of inquiring her input to inform a college naming for someone else. The discussion went well, although while in the moment the three of us from WT kept a close watch on each other, based on a concern someone would say more than they should say more than they should to Terry and ruin the surprise. And not to throw out any names, but from a risk management point of view, someone sharing his thoughts via a weekly op-ed for mass distribution does not profile as a good keeper of secrets. Of course, all went well, a clandestine success. When it comes to use of funds, both Dyke and Terry have kind of mentioned some things related to use of funds. So just to reiterate, it really will end up being scholarships, a program fund, professorships, and support for some matching funds as well. So a wide variety of support all across the college. Well, to bring me then maybe to the more difficult and controversial part of this, there's been quite a bit of discussion about this naming gift. So on one extreme, I shared the naming gift with Dean Emily Hunt from College of Engineering a couple of weeks ago. And she responded by saying, "How sweet, Dyke named a college for Terry. That is very romantic." So that's one extreme. I tend to come from a business background, so on the other extreme, I've been worried the guy's working too much. You see, there's never been a time in history where the gift-giving game has been so easy to manipulate. Dyke might be too busy to catch the news, but at this time, you can say you intended to buy something like a new luxury car for someone, but supply chain issues got in the way, so here are some footed pajamas and a coffee mug. Like many others in the room, I plan on writing out this supply chain issue for another year or two and fully expect when it's over, a recession will be in place, making it irresponsible to overspend. So Dyke, if you intended to be romantic, this is certainly a big move, player. On the other hand, if you're working too much and need help with your supply chain and chip shortage excuse game, let me know. In closing, the month of March is a time for momentum. A basketball team goes cold and calls a timeout or gets hot and might go on to win a championship. As individuals and as an institution, we've faced significant challenges in the last 2 years. For West Texas A&M University, this donation provides momentum with impact at a time of need. Harrington, Engler, and now Terry B. Rogers are college names that shine a light on a positive road moving forward and remind us once again that West Texas A&M is more than just brick and mortar. Again, thank you to Dyke, Terry, and the Rogers family, and sincere congratulations to Terry and the numerous Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences constituents. I will now invite Ariana Staldler, a junior education major, to the podium to say a few words on behalf of students.
Good morning, I'm Ariana Stalder. I'm a junior education major, planning to teach 4th through 8th grades. I'm also a Rogers Lee WT Scholar. I will be part of the first graduating class from the Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences. I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to personally learn from Dyke and Terry in the Rogers Lee WT program. They inspire us by sharing their experience, and they genuinely care about us and our future. They always show up to support whatever we have going on and make it a point to visit with each of us. They've invited us into their home and sat down and shared many meals with us. Dyke and Terry have poured into the Rogers Lead program, and now they're pouring into the College of Education and Social Sciences as well. They're making an investment into a large group of students at WT whom they've never met before. As one of those students, I'm encouraged to know that they have confidence in me and high expectations for what I can achieve. Dyke and Terry are part of a community of people, classmates, faculty, staff, alumni, and donors who give so much to help make obtaining a degree possible. Many people go the extra mile and give their money, personal time, talent, and expertise to help students. As I prepare to begin teaching, I am inspired to pay forward what has been given to me. Dyke and Terry, thank you so much for your gift to WT. I will continue to work hard and prove to be a worthy investment for you. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of today's gift announcement to name my college. On behalf of all students in the Terry B. Rogers College of Education and Social Sciences and all of us in Rogers-Lee WT, we want you to know how much we appreciate, respect, and love you both. Thank you.
Today's announcement marks the fulfillment of a 112-year dream for this institution to have the founding school named. And it is the beginning of a whole new chapter. Let's thank Dyke and Terry one more time. This may be one of the most emotional gift announcements I've ever attended in my career, and I love it. Thank you all very much for joining us today for this historic moment, and this concludes our press conference. We're going to ask that the media, if you would like to do interviews with any of these folks, that we'll meet you over here to the right. Thank you and have a wonderful day. We appreciate it very much.
Yes, ma'am. No, she does not. By the way,